So I was reading a lot of Matthias Kane books, but I also took a break in the middle to kind of, I don't know, listen to something a little bit heavier, because Matthias Kane allows me the chance to read heavier things because it's pretty upbeat and humorous. I read I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which is a true crime book that mostly takes place in the Bay Area, but also a little bit in Southern California. It is, of course, about the Golden State Killer. There was a TV show made about this. Very famous writer, and also the author of Gone Girl helped finish the book, along with the author's husband and two of her colleagues after she died. There's a lot to say about that, but she did die of some sort of degenerative illness. A couple people thought that she had unalived herself, who I talked to, but that's a misconception. She didn't. It was an illness. I will give a very strong trigger warning to anyone who wants to read this book for really graphic depictions of SA and unaliving. It is about a serial killer, so that should be really obvious, but I just want to make that abundantly clear. She doesn't focus on it. She's very respectful of it, but when it does come up, it's incredibly powerful and difficult to read. She uses the word navel gaze, which I feel like is such an interesting word for introspection. It's just one example of how good of a writer she is. She had a chapter talking about her relationship with her mother, which I actually had to stop reading because it was really emotional for me. I had to put this book down easily like 20 times because I had to take breaks from it, either because of the violence or because of the emotions. A lot of the book was pieced together from the author's notes posthumously or from interviews that she recorded with people. There are very graphic true crime scene descriptions. Also, the difference between the descriptions of the East Bay versus Santa Barbara are really intense. The chapter Goleta in 1981 was particularly difficult for me to read. I've grown up my life between the East Bay and Santa Barbara, and so I know both places really well, and the way that she describes it is so heart-wrenching. Like, she just has this incredible way of describing people's emotions and relationships where it just makes me really sad. Like, I just don't want... It puts you there so directly that it's hard to escape, and oftentimes after I put it down, I found myself thinking about what I had just read. And even after I finished the book, it comes up a lot in my thoughts, both the fact that she never got to see the East area. Anyway, she never got to see him get caught, and she never got to see justice for the victims. Obviously, it didn't directly affect her, but she was so invested in the case that it just feels really sad. The police department said that she had no effect on finding who was responsible. I don't think that's true. She wrote a lot of articles on him, and she wrote a lot of articles about the victims, and she brought a lot of attention to it. And I think that people wouldn't have pushed so hard to find who was responsible if she hadn't been continuously bringing this up and so focused on it. I would definitely recommend this book if you're a true crime enthusiast. If you live in any of the areas that were affected. My parents did happen to be in those areas when it was all happening, and they did describe between that and the Zodiac the kind of tumultuous time of that period. I don't know, it's difficult to read, but I really think it's worth it if you can stomach a lot of the graphic descriptions. It took me about 4 or 5 months to finish this audiobook. It was long, but I finished most audiobooks in, 3 hours, 4 hours. I listened to everything on 1.5 times speed. But this book took me so long because like it just had to keep stopping it. Like I couldn't just sit through it. It was really difficult. But I'm really glad that I did read it. I think it means a lot in the context of California history.